Hey everyone, Mr. Montgomery again. Today we are on page 257. Let me write it nice and big for you. We're on page 257. So make sure you get that page in your Robot Turtle book open before we start anything. But if it's still rolling, I'm guessing that you didn't need to pause the video and that you're all set, ready to go. Alright, so guys, today we're doing lesson 6-2. And we're going to collect data and use it and answer questions and a little bit of what we did yesterday, but we're going to add something new, something a little fun, something you're going to need crayons for. But don't worry, I'll let you know when you need the crayons. Don't panic, okay? You're fine. Okay, first, let's read what this girl is saying. It says, what is your favorite activity to do outside? Ask several classmates to choose jump rope, basketball, or ride a bike. Complete the tally chart and show your data. Then answer the questions. So, since this is a video, we can't exactly do a classroom vote now, can we? But I can make one up for us. So don't worry, I got us covered. Okay, for jump rope, let's see, I'm going to put this in blue. Let's pretend that in our imaginary classroom, we had, let's say, 5 friends say jump rope was their favorite outside activity. And let's see, for our imaginary classroom, next is basketball. Let's pretend that, let's say 8 friends in our imaginary classroom said basketball were their favorite. Now we still have one left. We have riding a bike. So in this imaginary classroom, I think I'll use green for this one. For riding a bike, let's pretend that only, let's say that 4 friends in this imaginary classroom said riding a bike was their favorite outside activity. Alright, so now we have some fun numbers. We have 5, 8, and 4. Now, how would we make that into a tally chart? Well, let's try to refresh our memories. So for a tally chart, or tally mark, right, we just make these little lines going from top to bottom. And then, when we're about to make 5, we make sure that we go from top to bottom, going across, making like a bundle of sticks. And that's how we make tallies, right? So how could we make the jump rope tally marks? We need to show 5 tally marks for jumping rope. How could we do that? Well, let's do this part together. Let's see. Jumping rope, tally marks. We have the number 5, so we know we need to show 5, but with tallies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's see. Do I just add the 5th one at the very end? Like that? No. We don't want to do that because that's not how we make tally marks. When we hit 5, we make sure that we go across. And it looks like a bundle of sticks, right? So there's our 5 for jump rope. Now I'm going to let you guys do the last 2 on your own. Show me 8 for basketball and 4 for riding a bike. How would we make those tally marks? How could we show that? Alright, if you still need a couple extra moments to do this part, pause the video. But let's make sure we're making these tally marks the correct way. Now for our basketball, let's see, we need to show 8. So we just count as we draw, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we do 5, we go across. And then we start fresh. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, I have 8 tally marks. Now let's try riding a bike. Okay, we just have 4. All right, so yours should look like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now remember, when we're making our tally marks, you want them kind of close together. We don't want them to look like a blob like this, because you can't see how many tally marks that is. And we also don't want them too far away, like this, or else you're just not going to have enough space on your paper. You got to think about this like Goldilocks and the 3 bears. You want them just a little bit apart, so it's just right. Okay? So if you're making them too far apart, just practice putting them a little bit closer. All right, now that we're done our tally chart, we have these 2 fun questions at the bottom to answer. And we're going to really focus on some very special words, like least and most. Now, when we're talking about these words, least and most, you're going to hear these words a lot. So that's why I'm making sure I give you a very good explanation. When we say the word least, that means the absolute tiniest number out of the numbers that we have. And then when we hear the word most, that is the biggest number out of all the numbers that they give us. Okay? Now, I'm not saying, when I say least votes, I'm not saying, what could possibly be the smallest number of votes you could ever have. No. When they say least, we are only looking at the numbers that we have with our chart. So we know that we have 5 jumping rope, 8 basketball, and 4 for riding a bike. These are the 3 numbers we're dealing with, 5, 8, and 4. So out of these 3 numbers, which one is the least? And go ahead and write the name of it on this line. Which one had the least number of votes? And write the name of it on this line. Was it jumping rope, basketball, or riding a bike? All right, did you guys write one down? If you're still writing, pause the video. Take your time. But for the least number of votes, for my friends that are all ready, riding a bike. It's the smallest number here. Out of 5, 8, and 4, that one's the smallest. So we would say ride a bike. Okay, now for number 2. Number 2 says, which activity has the most votes? Now, which one of these activities has the most number of votes, the biggest number? Is it jumping a rope with 5? Is it basketball with 8? Or is it riding a bike with 4? Go ahead and write the name of it on this line down here. Alright, if you're still writing your answer, that's fine. Pause the video as always. But if you're done, let's see what you wrote. Which activity had the most number of votes here? Well, it was this sport with 8 votes, which is basketball. So right here, you should have written basketball. And we know it's the most because it's the largest number of votes. That's it. But how could we show all this information a different way? Like, if we were trying to show this to someone in kindergarten, do you think they would be able to read this tally chart? I don't think so. When kindergartners are starting to learn to read and they're reading a book, what do they really focus on in a book? Do they focus on the words? Or is there something more fun to look at? You know what? They focus on the pictures, don't they? And the pictures give them hints and clues and kind of help them know what they're talking about. You know what? We could do the same thing with all of this information on our tally chart. So you can go ahead and draw this with me. First, we're going to start by making a big rectangle. All right, and we'll make some lines going across. Just two. All right, and I'm going to give a decent amount of space right here because I'm going to have to put a word in here. So up here, I'm just going to put abbreviations. Abbreviations is when you just put the, like maybe just a letter or two. So I'm going to put JR for jump rope. Okay, and for basketball, I'll put BB. And for riding a bike, I'm going to put RB. And now I'm just making a couple more lines down so I can make some special spaces here. Now, there is something called a picture graph that we're going to be learning about today. We're going to be taking data, or data, however you like to say it. Either way is fine. And we're going to transfer it into a picture graph. So when we use a picture graph, we got to make sure that we use something that people can recognize really easy. So for jump rope, you know what? We could do something really silly and goofy and just make a squiggly line, because jump ropes are kind of like squiggly lines, right? Make like a little blob here, and then squiggle, and then a little blob. And look at that, I made a super easy jump rope. But when we have a picture graph, we have to make sure we draw one picture for every one vote. So if we had 5 votes for jump rope, how many do we need to draw? We need to draw 5. So let's go ahead and do that. And they don't have to be perfect either. Okay, I got 3, 4, oh, ran out of space, but it's okay. And 5. All right, and you would do that for all of them. Now, I'm not going to do it for 8 because that's a lot, and I don't have that much space, unfortunately. But I will do the riding a bike one. And riding a bike, I'm just going to make this super easy, and I'm just going to make it a wheel. So circle, it has lines just going across like that. And that's our little bike wheel. So we had 4 votes for riding a bike, so we need 4 wheels. That's 2, 3, and 4. That one got messy, but it's okay. If it doesn't turn out perfect, it's not a big deal. Now, using this picture graph, is it a little bit easier to see which one had more votes between jumping rope and riding a bike? It kind of is, right? It just kind of pops out at you which one right away has the most votes. And between jumping rope and riding a bike, you see that there is just one more picture. So we know it had more votes. So picture graphs are really fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with drawing and just really getting into it today, guys. So make sure you have some crayons, make sure you have a pencil, and make sure you're ready to have some fun. So let's go ahead over to the next page, page 258, where we're going to be doing a lot more of these picture graphs and seeing what kind of data we're going to be taking from tally charts and putting in there. Alright, so guys, before we move on to this really fun picture graph we're going to be working on, I do want to still focus on those special words that we were talking about on the last page. Like most and least amount of votes, stuff like that. So we're going to do this quick little practice in the Convince Me section right here in this green box, because they have a really cool question for us, and it's about this chart right up here with the basketballs, the soccer balls, and the baseball. Alright, so this is all of the data we're going to need. This is our information, our numbers. Okay, so remember, we're just using that one. So the question is, look at the favorite sport picture graph above. This one right up here. Psst, that one. It says, what sport did Joey's friends like least? Oh, there's that special word, least. That tells us a lot of information. So let's think about what the word least means. Okay, think about it real quick. What does it mean? We have most and least. Okay, they're opposites. I don't want to give out the answer since we just talked about it, but they're opposites. Hint, hint. So in your book, write down the name of the sport that had the least number of votes. Was it basketball, soccer, baseball? Write down the name right here in the green box. And you know what? Even draw a picture of the ball. Give that a shot. All right, did you write one? If you need a couple more seconds, just pause the video, hit the space bar. But if you're all done, let's check it out. Okay, so the least means smallest. So we gotta look up here and see, and think to ourselves, which sport has the smallest number of pictures? Is it basketball, soccer, or baseball? Or if you don't need me to, tell you that least means smallest, well then which one has the least? Well, we see that there are 3 votes for basketball. 1, 2, 3. So you got 3 up here. For soccer, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And baseball just has 1. So which number is the smallest? It's that 1 baseball. And another way we can tell is because it doesn't go past this first line. That's it. It stops first. Like, it stopped right there. And it didn't feel like keep going. So that's why it's the smallest. So down here, you should write baseball. And then if you wanted to, you could have drawn a little picture of a baseball here. Okay, let's check out our picture graph we're going to be creating for number 1, numero uno. So they kind of did the first part for us, which you guys know, it bugs me when they do that. They're taking away some of the fun. But we can fix that. Don't worry. We're still going to have fun. So, first we see that this first row here is for the pairs. So, we need to go find the pairs. Boop, right here. And you just count how many pictures you're going to need to draw by counting the tally marks. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I counted 8 for pairs. So we have to draw 8 pairs. Remember guys, just 1 picture in each box. We're not cramming 2 pairs in a box. But just kind of outline real quick. Kind of looks like a green teardrop. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, dude. And just a couple more. Even if you just draw green circles, that's fine. It's not a big deal. So we have our 8 pairs. But next, we have to do bananas. Do you guys see bananas on our tally chart? You do. Cool. Oh. Alright, wait. You're pointing to them, aren't you? Yeah. I thought so. And right here is our bananas. Or as some kids call nanners. It's all good. So, I want you to try this part on your own, guys. Count the tally marks, and then draw the correct number of bananas for our picture graph. Huh? I think you guys could totally do this. So go ahead and give it a shot. Remember, just grab a yellow crayon, and the shape doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? All right, did you give it a shot? All right, if you're still drawing, don't worry, guys. There's no rush. Just hit that spacebar and pause the video like we always do. But for my friends that are done, let's see if you drew the correct number of bananas. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. 3 tally marks. And so that means we need to draw 3 bananas. Now you can just kind of make it look like a moon. So 1 nanner, 2 nanners, and 3 nanners. See, it's nothing special. So we have 3 tally marks, so we have 3 pictures. 1, 2, 3. And next we have apples. Apples, right there. Go ahead and create your picture graph for the apples. Alright, now if you need more time, of course, pause the video. No rush, but I'm sure a lot of friends are probably done. And remember, guys, these you just make circles or something for apples. Now let's count how many tally marks we see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you remember like my little trick that I was kind of talking about last lesson, when you see the band going across, you know it's 5. And you can start counting by 5s if you see a whole bunch. So, as I see that band going across, I know that this is 5. So it means I need 5 apples. Now for this, I'm just going to make red circles. Nothing crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now I have a little mission for you guys. Let's see if you remember those special words most and least. On this chart, I want you to put a plus sign next to the fruit that has the most number of votes. So which one had the most number of votes? Was it the pear, banana, or apple? Whichever one you think has the most, put a plus sign next to it. You can put it right in the little box. Right where there's space in the boxes, okay? Whichever one it is. Alright, did you do it? I sure hope so, because I'm checking your guys' workbooks. If you're in my class, I'm checking your workbooks after this. Alright, so the most number of votes is the most pictures, so that is the pear. And we know it's the most because we see that it goes longer than any of the other picture sections of the picture graph. You know what I mean? Or if you counted the tally marks, you know that it has the biggest number. We have biggest number, longest line of pictures, whichever way helps you. You can just think of it that way. So you should have put a plus sign next to the pear. Now, the next job I'm going to give you guys is which fruit has the least number of votes? And whichever fruit in our picture graph here has the least number of votes, I want you to put a minus sign next to it. Go ahead. Think about it, figure out which one has the least number of votes, the pear, banana, or apple, and put a minus sign next to it. Alright, did you pick one? I sure hope you did. Okay, because we're about to check to see if you really know these words most and least when we're talking about voting and charts and graphs and all that stuff. So the least means smallest. So which one has the smallest number of pictures or smallest number of tally marks? Well, it's the banana. Oh, that's a really sloppy minus sign. Ooh, right there. That's better. So we know that it has the least number of votes because it has the least number of pictures. There's only 3. And you can tell just by looking at it that it stops, that it stops before the other votes or the other fruits, right? It stops first, so we know that it has the least number of votes. So, good job. All right, let's go check out page 259 and see what is going on there. All right, everyone, here's page 259. Okay, 259. Now, before I let you guys go off do stuff completely on your own, I just want to do a little bit more together. We're not going to do all of number 2 together, but we'll do a part of it together, okay? So, first, before we do anything, we need to figure out exactly how we're going to make our picture graph with games, paint, and reading. They have a board game, a paintbrush, and a red book. That is a lot of detail for this tiny little box, so we need to make it more simple. So let's think what is very simple. To do this, first we just look at the shape. What shape is this board game? It's a square. So you make a square. And what color is most of this square? Most of it is yellow. So we're going to get a yellow, and we can just kind of color it in. Might be a little hard to see in the video, but I promise you I'm coloring it yellow. And that's what we'll make for the games part. For the paintbrush, that can be a little tricky, but let's think things out. Okay, so it kind of looks like there's a little bit of a rectangle up here, and it has a little handle. So we can do that. Make kind of like a square or rectangle, right? And a handle. That's easy enough. And we can color it blue. Now if you don't want to color the whole thing blue, that's fine. You just like make the one end blue. Just like that. I know it's not the prettiest, but we don't have to make it the prettiest, or else we're just going to be taking up way too much time. So I made a square with a little rectangle for the handle, and I made the tip blue. Now let's figure out what we do for reading. They have a picture of a book, and trying to make a book like that might be a little tough. So what we'll do is think about what shape this is. It's a rectangle. So you make a little rectangle. And then what color is it? It's red. So just put a red rectangle for a book. All right, so we have a yellow square for our games. We have a square with a little rectangle that's blue for our paint, and then a red rectangle for reading. That's our book. So we'll do the games part together. Count the tally marks and create your picture graph for the games part. Put the correct number of votes for games, because these were activities for a rainy day. These are the number of friends that voted for games. So go ahead and make your picture graph with the tally marks. That's your data, right? That tells you how many. Okay, I don't want to give too much of a pause, but I'm guessing you guys are probably still working. So do me a favor, hit the spacebar, pause the video right now, and finish that top part of the picture graph. But if you're already done, I'm going to make my part. Now I'm not going to color mine in, I'm just going to make shapes. So I know I have 5 right away because we have that little line going across. That makes 5. So 5, 6, 7. So I need 7 pictures for games. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, and then I would just color them in yellow. I'm not going to color them in all, just put a little scribble yellow. Nothing crazy. I'm not going to take up too much time here. All right. So if you matched my games part of my picture graph, then I feel like you have a pretty good handle on things. All right, this isn't anything too crazy. It's pretty straightforward, I feel. So go ahead and do the paint part and the reading part. And then when you're done, you're going to answer questions 3. Oh, that is not the right color. You're going to do questions number 3 and 4. I am going to read them to you, especially since I want to point out one specific word in number 3. It says, which activity is the favorite? Now, when you hear favorite, we're going to think of a different word, because you might be thinking, what does that mean? So favorite, all that means, we can say it equals the word most. So when you hear the word favorite, that just means which one had the most votes. And then number 4 says, how many students chose reading? And then they want that number. So before you do those, make sure you finish the picture graph. And then also, I do want you to do a couple things on page 260. So if you want to pause the video here and answer those first, like finish the graph and then answer 3 and 4, that's fine. But if you would like to just go right to the next page and then hear it all at once, that's fine too. The cool thing about the video is that you can always rewind and rewatch things. All right? So if you want to pause here, pause, and then do your work. Or maybe you finished it and you're all done. I'm going to explain what we're going to do on the next page. Okay, so here's page 260. Now, we are going to do kind of all of it. All right, because I feel like this stuff is kind of fun, not too complicated. And so let's go over this real quick. So it says for number 6, Gina asks her friends a survey question. Then she makes a tally chart to show their favorite music instruments. Use her data to make a picture graph. So be a little creative with how you want to draw these. For a guitar, you can kind of make like a wobble and a little line there. Doesn't have to be crazy, and then just color it in. For a drum, circle, line, line, circle. For the flute, that's easy. Just kind of like a rectangle, and that's fine. And then you pick whatever colors you like. So you are going to complete this chart using the data in this tally chart. After that, number 7 says, how many students voted in all? You guys should know how to answer that. And then we have some very easy multiple choice questions at the bottom. Number 8 says, which musical instrument has the most votes? Is it guitar, piano, flute, or drum? And then number 9, how many students chose the flute? And that's a pretty easy question. All right, so go ahead and do all that. And there will be another activity if you get this done fast enough, because I have a feeling you guys are going to race through it. If you get this done really fast, there is going to be an IXL activity for you on our Google Classroom. If you're really confused or need have a quick question, let me know. But please be polite and raise your hand and be patient. But that's it, guys. So hopefully that this is pretty fun and easy, and that you understand it totally fine. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.